Alarming levels of toxic chemicals called PFAS, which are also known as forever chemicals, have been found near military bases in Japan, posing serious health hazards to those in the area. Joining me to talk about these dangers and a lot of other stories is attorney Michael Bixby. So Mike, let's jump right into this, right? We have talked plenty of times on this show about these PFAS chemicals here in the United States, and now we've got them on military bases, poisoning the water around Okinawa. So kind of give us a good picture of what's happening here.
Sure. So we know about these chemicals. They have been around for decades, unfortunately, and they're getting everywhere. I think in particular in the military base, they were using it in foam, fire foam for practice exercises. And then they were dumping this actually where the authorities in Japan said, don't put this in the sewers. And unfortunately, and for reasons that I can't understand, the military said, we're just going to dump it anyway, even though we know this stuff is toxic. And if you get back to it, the companies who manufactured this stuff, like DuPont and 3M, where these originated, that's the real culprit here. But then you have to be asking yourself the question of why is the military dumping this where they're not supposed to in Japan, somebody that should be our ally, and we're sitting here ignoring what they've asked us to do. I think that's a significant problem, Farron, of what are we creating here, where we're putting toxins, things that can cause cancer, things that can cause all kinds of other problems, to 20 times the acceptable level, 20 times.
And we're talking about a water system here that feeds 450,000 people. So nearly 500,000 people have been drinking this infected water. And something Mike Papantonio loves to point out here is all it takes is one drop of this to contaminate, I believe, an Olympic-sized swimming pool. And if you were to drink that water for a full year, the odds of you developing cancer, it's almost a guarantee at that point.
Sure, and it goes up so significantly here because it can't get out. It's not like you just apply a Brita filter. And this solves the problem. When you say forever chemicals, that means these are not biodegradable. They're persistent. They stay forever. So when we continue to see these being used and the problem is not fixed, which is nearly impossible to fix, this is causing great concern, and it causes a bigger concern from what the corporations are doing, where they're feeding the U.S. military something, and the U.S. military, unfortunately, is using it in a negligent manner. It's inappropriate and it's unacceptable.
Right. So there is kind of a chain of command here, as you point out. Obviously, the military should not be dumping it over there, but at the same time, they're just using what they have. And they have to use this firefighting foam, especially at the Air Force bases. That becomes a vital part of what they do, and it could cause significant harm not using firefighting foam. So we do have to go back to the companies. We have to go back to 3M. We have to go back to DuPont. And to me, it almost looks like we're looking at kind of a whole new level of potential liability for them, maybe in the future. I'm not sure how that would play out specifically, because they have been held accountable in U.S. courts over this. But it looks like there's other dangers in other countries that could possibly come up.
I think that's exactly right, is that you're going to see new liability created because it's not all the damage isn't immediate. Some of this takes time to develop in people, and I think they need to be held accountable. When somebody does something intentionally, they know, and you've talked about it on this show before about what they knew about these chemicals before they distributed them, before they put it in the hands of the military. So accountability is a must. It needs to happen.
Absolutely.